It was supposed to be a calm and entertaining morning on the Lorraine show. Lorraine Kelly had invited the legendary British actor, Tom Hardy, to discuss his new film, a dark thriller that had already captured the attention of audiences worldwide. But what began as a light-hearted conversation soon turned into one of the most talked about live TV moments in recent memory. Lorraine began, as always, with her usual charm. "Tom, darling, welcome. You look absolutely fantastic, as always," she said with a warm smile. Tom chuckled lightly. "Thank you, Lorraine. You're too kind." The studio audience applauded. For a moment, everything seemed normal, relaxed, friendly, and professional. But Lorraine, known for her sometimes sharp and personal questions, quickly shifted the tone of the interview. "So, Tom," she said, leaning forward with her signature smirk, "you've got a bit of a reputation for being difficult on set. Is that true? Or are the directors just too soft for your style?" Tom's smile faded slightly. "Difficult? I wouldn't say that. I'm passionate about my work. I care about getting it right." Lorraine pressed on. "Come on, Tom, there must be some truth to it. I've read reports, walkouts, shouting matches. Even your co-stars say you can be a bit intense." A brief silence fell over the set. The audience shifted uncomfortably. Tom leaned back in his chair, his jaw tightening. "Lorraine, with all due respect, that's not what I came here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the film, not tabloid rumors." Lorraine laughed awkwardly. "Oh, don't be so serious. People love the behind-the-scenes drama. It's part of your charm, isn't it?" But Tom's expression didn't soften. "I think people appreciate honesty more than gossip," he said sharply. The tension in the studio was now unmistakable. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Lorraine, however, wasn't ready to back down. "All right, let's move on," she said quickly, flipping through her cue cards. "Your new movie is very dark. You seem to always choose roles with a lot of anger and violence. Is that who you are deep down, the brooding, tough guy?" Tom's eyes narrowed. "Lorraine, you've interviewed me before. You know I'm an actor, I play characters. It doesn't mean that's who I am." "Yes, but surely it says something about your personality," Lorraine replied, smiling provocatively. At that moment, Tom's patience snapped. "Lorraine," he said slowly, his tone controlled but icy, "I think this is the problem with modern interviews. You invite people on to promote their work, but instead of asking about the art, you poke around in their personal lives and paint them as something they're not." The studio audience gasped slightly. Lorraine looked stunned but tried to maintain her composure. "Tom, I'm just doing my job. People are curious about you." "Curiosity isn't an excuse for disrespect," Tom shot back. "If this is the kind of show you're running, then maybe I shouldn't be here." The crew tried to signal for a commercial break, but Tom continued before they could cut. "You know, I came here because I thought this was about the work, about storytelling, about the craft. But this," he gestured around. "This feels like a trap." Lorraine forced a smile. "Oh, don't be dramatic, Tom. We're just having a chat." Tom stood up slowly, removing his microphone. "No, Lorraine, you're having a chat. I was hoping for a conversation." Gasps filled the studio. Lorraine's eyes widened in disbelief. "Tom, we're live. Then maybe people should see what live TV has become," he interrupted, his voice calm but filled with conviction. Without another word, Tom handed the microphone to a stagehand and walked off the set. The cameras caught every second, the silence, Lorraine's stunned face, and the awkward applause that followed. Lorraine blinked several times, trying to regain her composure. "Well," she said with a forced laugh, "that was unexpected. We'll be right back after the break." The screen faded to a commercial, but social media exploded instantly. Within minutes, hashtags like #TomHardyWalksOff and #LorraineClash began trending worldwide. Clips of the moment spread across Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Some viewers praised Tom for standing up for himself, calling his reaction powerful and honest. Others criticized him, labeling his walkout as unprofessional and overly sensitive. Later that day, Lorraine's show issued a short statement on X, formerly Twitter. Greater than, today's live interview with Tom Hardy took an unexpected turn. We have the utmost respect for Tom and wish him continued success with his new film. Tom's publicist released a response shortly after. Greater than, Tom was invited to discuss his work, not to engage in personal gossip. He appreciates genuine interviews that focus on his craft. By evening, entertainment outlets across the world were debating who was in the wrong. Was Lorraine simply doing her job as a journalist, or did she cross a line by provoking one of Britain's most respected actors? Regardless of where people stood, one thing was certain: the clash between Tom Hardy and Lorraine Kelly would go down as one of the most unforgettable live TV moments in British talk show history. The morning after the heated clash, British media was on fire. Every newspaper headline, entertainment show, and gossip blog was replaying the clip of Tom Hardy walking off Lorraine Kelly's set. The incident had gone viral overnight. "Tom Hardy walks out live," screamed one tabloid. "Lorraine's toughest interview yet," declared another. Lorraine Kelly, usually calm and collected, found herself at the center of unwanted attention. She sat quietly in her dressing room that morning, reading through hundreds of online comments. Some supported her, saying she was just doing her job. But many were harsh. Greater than, Lorraine was out of line. Let the man talk about his film. Tom Hardy handled that with class. She kept pushing him. Totally disrespectful. The criticism stung. Lorraine had interviewed countless celebrities over her career, from royals to Hollywood stars, but she had never experienced this level of backlash. Her producer, Simon, knocked on her door. "Lorraine, are you all right? The network's been calling all morning. They want to handle the PR carefully. This is big." Lorraine sighed, putting down her phone. "I never meant to offend him. It was supposed to be lighthearted." Simon nodded. "I know. But Tom's fans are intense. Maybe a public apology would help calm things down." She leaned back, lost in thought. Lorraine had built her entire reputation on being warm and relatable, the nation's morning comfort. But yesterday, she had looked pushy, even cruel. "Yes," she finally said. "I'll apologize on tomorrow's show." Meanwhile, Tom Hardy was in his London apartment, sitting quietly with his morning coffee. His phone buzzed non-stop, calls from agents, messages from co-stars, emails from journalists begging for a comment. His assistant, Emma, peeked into the room. "You've seen the headlines." Tom nodded. "Hard to avoid. You handled yourself well, Tom. People are actually defending you. It's trending everywhere." He smirked faintly. "I didn't plan it. I just couldn't sit there and be talked about like that. I came to talk about the film, not about being some angry guy." Emma hesitated. "Lorraine's producers reached out. They want you back on the show, to clear the air." Tom chuckled. "After that, I don't think so." "Maybe it's worth considering," Emma said softly. "Sometimes the best response is to show grace. People already see you as the good guy. Why not end it on your terms?" Tom stared out the window for a moment, thinking. He had never cared much for public image, but he did care about respect. "Let me think about it," he said finally. The next morning, the Lorraine show began with a different tone. Lorraine appeared on screen, her usual bright smile replaced by something more sincere. "Good morning, everyone. Before we begin today's program, I want to address what happened on yesterday's show." The audience grew silent. "I had the privilege of interviewing the talented Tom Hardy," she continued. "Unfortunately, things became tense, and the conversation didn't go as planned. I want to say publicly, I never intended to make Tom uncomfortable or disrespect him. Sometimes, as interviewers, we try too hard to get a story, and we forget the person in front of us. So, Tom, if you're watching, I'm truly sorry." The statement quickly made headlines again. But this time, the tone of the coverage was different, softer, more understanding. A few hours later, Lorraine received an email from Tom's team. He had agreed to come back on the show for a follow-up, live. 2 days later, the atmosphere in the studio was electric. Cameras rolled, the audience held their breath, and Lorraine looked more nervous than ever. Then, Tom Hardy walked onto the set. The applause was thunderous. Lorraine stood up and extended her hand. "Tom, thank you for coming back." Tom smiled politely and shook her hand. "Thank you for having me, Lorraine." They both sat down. For a moment, there was silence. Lorraine broke it with a genuine smile. "I have to say, this feels a bit surreal after what happened." Tom nodded. "It does. But I respect you for inviting me back. That takes guts." The audience laughed softly. The tension melted. Lorraine continued, "I realized after watching the replay that I wasn't being fair. Sometimes we push too hard trying to make good television, and we forget the person behind the celebrity. Tom looked thoughtful. We all make mistakes, Lorraine. The truth is, interviews can be tricky. Actors can be defensive, journalists can be persistent, it's part of the game. What matters is how we move forward. The crowd clapped again, sensing a moment of reconciliation. Lorraine smiled. Then let's move forward. Tell us about your film, The Silent Shadow. I promise, no gossip this time. Tom laughed. Deal. As he spoke passionately about the film's message, about isolation, redemption, and second chances, the audience saw a different side of him. He was calm, articulate, and deeply human. Lorraine listened attentively, occasionally nodding. By the end of the segment, both were smiling genuinely. The show ended with Lorraine saying, "Tom Hardy, everyone, a man of talent, passion, and now, a bit of morning TV history." The crowd gave a standing ovation. After the cameras stopped rolling, Tom turned to Lorraine and said quietly, "No hard feelings." She smiled, relieved. "None at all. Thank you for coming back. You didn't have to, but I'm glad you did." Tom nodded. Sometimes people just need to talk, properly this time. They both laughed, the kind of laughter that comes when two people finally understand each other. Later that evening, clips of their reconciliation flooded social media. Fans loved it. Greater than, Tom Hardy and Lorraine Kelly making peace on live TV, we love to see it. Respect to both for handling it like adults. The clash that had begun as a moment of tension ended up as a story of forgiveness, proving that even in the unpredictable world of live television, humility and respect could still shine through.